Top five basketball players. Top five. Mike, Shaq.
Reem Abdul-Jabbar.
Was LeBron in there yet?
Tim Duncan.
It was hard. I picked Duncan over Akeem.
I didn't even see Oscar Robertson play. That's just out of guilt. I got Oscar guilt.
Oscar did not look. Oscar was 12 on my list.
Russell, because they didn't have a Finals MVP when he was winning his 11 championships. Michael Jordan, 6 titles, 6 Finals MVPs. That means it was all about you each series. You were the mismatch.
Yes, sir.
My top five.
Your top five.
Well, Stephen, this is an emotional choice. Okay, so there's no analytics associated.
For my documentary, I set out to find the greatest 15-man NBA roster in league history. To begin my journey, I set out to find a criteria for how these players will be measured against each other, established by different NBA fans, NBA analysts, and also NBA players. Finally, after establishing my criteria, I will create a list of the greatest 15-man NBA team possible through the opinions of NBA analysts, NBA fans, and NBA players collectively. To begin my documentary, I will be looking through the perspective of the fans. Like that would be your other main criteria point, is just like looking at your team, which players you feel like would fit best, like playing together. Like players, you're not looking at them individually, you're looking at like which players would be the best playing on a team together and who could like easily fit into a system, like any system they're put into.
Yeah, because all these guys have really good basketball IQs, obviously, but if you have like Tim Duncan and Kareem in the paint, those are two guys that really like to operate from the post. So a Dirk Nowitzki who can operate from the post, but not always like the low post like a Kareem or a Shaq would. He can stretch out and hit the three or the mid-range. So really just how the guys fit together.
So one of the main things that you use is just being able to watch the players and just like the eye test, being able to watch them and you kind of get the feeling when watching them.
Correct. The eye test is definitely big for me. Like I said, I think there's a lot of things you can't quantify, but you realize that they have it or they have it, whatever it is. And I know that's very not very specific, but and then yes, I put leading a team to championships over individual statistics. Obviously, it's not the main thing or like the only thing, but it definitely signified into my teams.
Once the criteria had been set, it was time to make the list. The following is Christian's top 15 players list, Jordan's top 15 players list, and a website called Rankers.com's top 15 players list. What Rankers.com did is essentially list all of the great NBA players and allowed fans to either upvote or downvote the NBA players to see who would come out on top. After each individual list was set, I set up a point system in order to compile all 3 individual lists into one. This list would be labeled the Accumulative NBA Greatest Fan Team Ever. This list would consist of, in order of points, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, Bill Russell, Oscar Robertson, Wilt Chamberlain, Kevin Durant, Karl Malone, and Julius Erving. The next lens I will be looking through is the analysts.
So that would be Kevin Durant, then obviously LeBron, and then I would put Shaquille O'Neal in there because the mass, the girth, the intimidation, his ability to run the floor with those other 4 guys as well. I think he'd beat people up.
Hakeem could do everything Shaq could do and more, though no one was as dominant in the paint as Shaq.
The 4 perspectives I looked at for the NBA analyst is that of Andrew Lynch, Matt Goldberg, Omar Guerrero, and the Slam magazine staff, who all listed their 15 greatest NBA players for a team and their criteria for such. Once the accumulative list was created through the same scoring system as used before, the list came out to be, in order of points once again, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, Larry Bird, Oscar Robertson, Kobe Bryant, Hakeem Olajuwon, Jerry West, Julius Erving, and Elgin Baylor.
Yes, sir.
Finally, the
Your
last
top
perspective
Steven,
I looked at was
This is an
the
emotional
players.
choice. Okay, so there's no analytics associated with it. And as a matter of fact, probably the last 40 years, the last 50 years are not a part of it. Because I made this decision when I was a teenager.
Oh.
You see? So,
Okay.
So I was 14, 15, and this is what I saw. And I saw Bill Russell, I saw Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor.
Speak up so they can hear you.
Elgin Baylor, who is my favorite, Oscar Robertson, and Jerry West. That became my top 5 as a teenager. And they have remained my top 5.
The 4 NBA players' perspectives I looked at was Julius Erving, Kevin Durant, Allen Iverson, and Charles Barkley. Once each player's points had been tallied, the cumulative list came out to be Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, Oscar Robertson, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Bill Russell, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Steph Curry. Now that all 3 NBA perspectives have been analyzed, it is time to make our final team. This team was created by using the same point system used for the 3 previous teams, and some additional criteria was added, as each team needed to include at least 2 guards, 1 forward, and 1 big man. For our starters, we have the 6'9" point guard out of Michigan State University, Magic Johnson. Next, we have the 6'6" shooting guard out of University of North Carolina, Michael Jordan. At our small forward position, we have the 6'8" LeBron James out of St. Vincent St. Mary's High School. For our big men, we have the 7'2" center out of UCLA, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and our other big man, the 7'1" center out of Kansas, Wilt Chamberlain. For our reserves, we have the 6'5" point guard out of Cincinnati, Oscar Robertson. Next, we have the 6'6" shooting guard out of Lower Merion High School, Kobe Bryant. At small forward, we have the 6'9" Larry Bird out of Indiana State University. For our big man, we have the 6'10" center out of San Francisco University, Bill Russell. And finally, we have the 7'1" center out of Louisiana State University, Shaquille O'Neal. To round off our reserves, we have the 6'2" guard out of West Virginia University, Jerry West. We also have the 6'3" guard out of Davidson University, Steph Curry. Next is the 6'5" small forward out of Idaho University, Elgin Baylor. For our big men, we have the 6'11" power forward out of Wake Forest, Tim Duncan, and the 7' center out of Houston University, Hakeem Olajuwon. Our team is now set and destined for a concluding reflection. Okay, so I'm sitting here with Mr. Torres, Mitch, and Jay, and I just showed them the final list that I came up with, and I'm going to get their reactions to the list.
Okay, I'll go first. So, if your point is to tell me that that starting team of Magic and Jordan and LeBron and Kareem and Chamberlain are the best 5 players ever, okay, that's fine. But like when you look at the 3 teams, when I'm looking at the 3 teams that are in front of me, I think NBA rules best of 7 series. I think your second team all time of Robinson, Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird, Bill Russell, and Shaquille O'Neal is a better 5 than the other 2 teams. I think that 5 wins more. So that's That's where I'm at. I think they just win more.
So you think, like, overall flaws, you don't necessarily disagree with the players that made the list, just the way they were formed. Obviously, you're going to have some players that you'll argue, but just the way the teams were formed and, like, how they would match up against each other was the biggest flaw.
Yeah, and flaw is a harsh word because the logic that you use to put together the list makes perfect sense.
Right.
I do think that had you just said these are the 15 greatest players, not given us the points, and said make your starting 5, I don't know how many people you would have surveyed that would have picked the starting 5 that you currently have of Johnson, Jordan, James, Kareem, and Chamberlain.